as you guys saw before, I do not use verbal or nonverbal cues when first teaching an action or behavior, but let's cut to the chase. Why? I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to use my words. I'm going to give you something nonverbal, and I want you to tell me what it means. What does that mean? What if I do it sideways? Do you know what that means now? Well, if you know ASL, you know it means cup. But that's my exact point. When you're given a nonverbal cue or you're given a verbal cue that you've never seen before, you don't know what it is, you've never practiced the action, you've never been rewarded for it before, nothing's come from it before, how are you supposed to know what to do? Instead of breeding frustration and causing other things to occur during the training and cause your dog not to want to train, here's what I suggest doing instead. If you have an action such as sit or down, I want you to do a technique called luring. And luring is simply taking a treat or a toy, something that they love, and getting them to follow your hand, right? You place them into a sit. You can get them into a down simply by having them follow the lure. There's another way of doing this, and it's something more for behaviors. Now, when it comes to behaviors that you're wanting, you can't technically lure those behaviors, can you? But what you can do is reward the behaviors you do like, and they will start to do it more. I promise you. If you focus more on rewarding the behaviors you want, your dogs are going to start to do those behaviors a lot more. Why? Because they're getting rewarded for it. The whole goal when you're teaching your dog something new is to practice, to stay consistent, to have clear communication, and to practice exactly that. So what I do for my dogs to make them successful right from the start is I teach them the action itself. I teach them the behaviors that I like by rewarding them, by luring those actions and then rewarding them. It's all about getting your dog to understand what exactly you're wanting your dog to do. Then at that time, once my dog has really started to understand what we're asking them to do, I will start to practice that in different rooms of the house. Why? Because it's more practice. The more practice you get, the more that your dog is going to want to do these things, doing them on his own, because he's starting to learn that, hey, this is rewarding. This gets me something super positive. Okay. Now, when it comes time to adding that verbal cue or that nonverbal cue, I always like to do it when the action is happening, when the behavior is happening. Why? Because just like flashcards, if you didn't know this was a cup, right? I would say cup, cup. And you would automatically say, oh, this thing is a cup. I know, I saw this and I remember the word cup, right? That's exactly what we're doing. We're just implementing the word and the action or the behavior. So for example, I taught my dogs how to drink out of the water on command simply by saying water when they drank. Oh, he just went over to get water. That's so funny. When I say that, they know to go automatically over there and just start drinking, and then they get rewarded for it. It's really helpful for me because of our lifestyle and what we have going on. But it's just an example of what can be achieved simply by doing that. Now, once you have a lot of practice and you add that cue in, that verbal cue, that nonverbal cue, it's just, again, about practice and repetition. I would then take those dogs and bring them into different rooms again and start practicing in each and every room, getting better at that practice. Not asking for the cue, sit or water, asking them to go and do the thing. We're saying the words while it's happening to connect those dots. Once that practice has happened enough, you can say that verbal or that nonverbal cue and your dog is going to connect the dots. It's so simple, yet so misunderstood.